Hello everyone, welcome back to the course of Core Java, and today in our lesson number 12 we are going to finally start the topic of object oriented programming in Java. So to understand what is object oriented programming, we need to understand the concepts of object oriented programming, right? And then we will move on to understand what are classes and what are objects in Java. We will also see how we can use methods in the relation of a class, in the relation of a object. That means how you can call a method using the object. So to start with our first subtopic, that is concepts of OOPS, we need to understand for logic. Okay, so the first environment, or to say first property that is part of OOPS, is polymorphism. So what polymorphism means in the word itself, it means that it can exist in different forms, something that can exist in different form. So in sense of Java programming, let's take a method. Okay, so let's say a method is there with the name method1. So it can exist in both this form, like one method 1 which does not take any argument, and also there is a method 1 which takes one argument. So like that, method 1 can exist in several different forms. It will have the same name, but it can take different data types as argument. It can take different number of data types as argument. Only thing is the return type should be same. So basically this is the property of polymorphism. So moving on to our second property, that is encapsulation. So basically encapsulation means to confine some data inside another object, right? For example, you have a class, right? Inside that class, you have some data. So you do not want those data to be accessed by any outer class. So in that case, you use some specifier, right? Like private or protected or public. So till now, I know you have only seen public access specifier in our course, but as we progress, we'll see what are private, what are protected. So the basically the concept of encapsulation is that you need to encapsulate some data inside a class so that outer classes cannot access them. Basically you are encapsulating some important data. So that is the concept of encapsulation. And the third property is inheritance. So this means that you have one superclass, right? You have some superclass, and from that you are inheriting some properties of that class. So for example, there is a vehicle. So you know a vehicle will have some wheels, right? The vehicles will be having wheels. So a vehicle can be either a scooty or it can also be a car. So in that same sense, the scooty and the car both inherit the properties of a vehicle having wheels, right? Having a steering wheel or having the accelerator. So those common properties it will inherit. So that concept in the sense of programming in Java is that one superclass will be there and other subclasses will inherit some properties of that superclass. So that is the concept of inheritance. So coming to our fourth concept, fourth property, that is abstraction. So basically abstraction means you only display the important mechanisms to the user. In sense of a practical example, let's say a car is there, you know how to accelerate, right? You are changing the gears of the car, but you do not know the mechanism, like how it is changing in the background, right? You only know there is a gear stick and you change it, but the important part, the main mechanism, how it works, that all part is not shown to you, like the gear wheels, that is not shown to you. So that is abstraction. In the sense of programming in Java, understand that let's say there is a abstract class, let's and then there are interfaces. So these two things provide you the property of abstraction. So whenever you implement a interface into a class, then you do not need to understand what is defined inside the class, inside the method in the class. You will only see what are the method name that needs to be implemented in the interface, right? From the interface. So of course, abstract classes and interfaces will sound new to you. So I'm just telling you, just to explain you the concepts, like so that you remember these are the concepts that are supported in object-oriented programming, and slowly we will definitely see it with a practical, with a example of programs, right? With the example of code. So finally, let's move on to our second subtopic, that are class and object. You have already seen our main class. So today we will declare some different class and assign some values in it, and we'll see how we can create an object from that class and how we can use it, right? How you can display some output. Okay, so we have our main class, that is sample oops. So let's say we declare another class, that is test, right? We can declare this class inside here only. Let's say it will have some variable like int height, int let's say breadth, int width, right? Okay, we'll make it as length. So basically I'm just trying to display you the properties a class can have, right? Okay, let's give it a practical name like box, right? A box will have a height, it will have a length, and of course it will have a width also, right? So let's say, okay, and another thing, class should always be in capital, right? It should start with a capital letter. Box, new box, right? Okay, so this is how you can define a class, right? A class just will just have a set of properties inside it, and it can also have a method. We'll see in our next subtopic. Right now, let's say it will have some properties inside it, and when you define a variable from that class, that variable will represent your box. So to correlate it with a primitive data type, understand that a class helps you in manually setting a data type. Like a integer is already defined, right? An integer will take a number up to some extent of size, right? So class is also, you can relate it to that similar sense, like it will help you defining a data type, and you the properties of the data type you can manually set. And when you declare a variable of that data type, that means of that class, that variable will represent your object. Okay, so let's say I call it box dot, let's name it box1 for now, and then we'll declare another object box2 equals to new box. So this is the syntax of how you can declare your object, right? Okay, height, let's say 10, then box2 dot length equals to 20, box3. Okay, I was going to declare for the first one, right? First, width equals to 30, then same will do for the second one, right? I will copy it for now. I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll copy it and just change some values from it, like just put 5 here and then make it 2. So see, basically we have a class, we have a set of properties, then we are declaring two different variables, and we are assigning different values inside the properties of that class, right? To the properties of that class. So this variable represent your objects. So here I can display like box 1 plus box 1 plus height plus, okay, I'll just write down this code quickly. So just to save some time, I quickly wrote down the rest of the code because it is just simple coding, right? Okay, so here, as we have already declared two different objects, right? Two different objects, and we have assigned different values to their properties. And now see, we can simply display them. So the class is single, right? The class is only one, but using the object we can maintain a different instances of that. So this is also another way of representing your object. That means object is a instance of your class, you can say that, right? So coming to our next subtopic, that is methods in class. So I have already shown you how you can declare a method, right? Method will take some argument, it will return some value, etc, etc. So let's say inside this class I declare one method, let's say volume. Right now I'm not passing anything. It will simply return height, length, width, right? It will return this here. I'll just take like volume box 1, right? Volume for box 1, box 1 dot volume. Now similarly volume box 2 equals to box 2 dot volume, right? Okay, so I already wrote the system.out codes for this quickly. So when we run this, we'll get something like this, right? So first we declared the properties of the two boxes. It will be for box 1 10, 20, 30, and box 2 will have 15, 25, 35, and then we declared one common method, right? And how we can call that method, how we can call the specific method for that, that is using the object, right? The object dot the method name. Okay, so we wrote the statement, I mean we wrote the instruction inside the method like it will return the volume, right? So it will, the object will handle like it will multiply the properties of that object. The code of the method is common, but when we invoke it using a specific object, that means that method will obviously will only use the properties, that means the variable inside that object only, means the variable that are assigned to that object. Hope the concept of OOPS and how class and object and how methods work together is clear to you. And as we move forward in our class, in our course, we will get a better understanding. Right now in this first class of object oriented programming, it may look a little complicated, but as we progress you will have a better understanding of how objects work, and how these different concepts of OOPS will come into play. So if you have any doubts, then feel free to comment below. We'll definitely try to clear your doubts, and wait for the next video. Thank you for attending our lesson number 12.